So good to see everybody. Good to have everybody around. And tonight, we move forward with the Sutras into Sutra number 12. So far, Patanjali has told us what to do to stop the waves of the mind. And he told us, what are these different types of thoughts? But he hasn't said yet how to do it. And that's what we're going to learn right now, is how do we still the waves of the mind? And he gives three different examples. The first one is right now. And then, we think of this as a dialogue with his students. So the students say, how do we stop the mind? You're about to find out. You'll get the answer. And for some students, that's enough. But for most students, it's not enough. And he explains in some detail, but then they say, okay, that's good, but what can we do? And, later on, he'll give us a second way to do it. And then still that's not enough. And then we get a third way, which is the 8 limbs of yoga we might be familiar with. So this is the first one. How do we still the waves of the mind? So sutra number 12. These vrittis, or thought waves, are controlled by Abhyasa, which is practice, and Vairagya, which is dispassion. So regular practice, just practice stilling the mind, it will come. We also need dispassion. The mind is very passionate. It's always pulled to this and that. But are the things it's pulled to helping us towards our goals or not? And if it's not, maybe we can see that, and then they don't bother us as much. We can let it go. So let's see what Swami Jyotirmayananda has to say. In order to control the vrittis, or thoughts, of the mind, there are two effective methods: Abhyasa, repeated practice, and Vairagya, dispassion. The chitta, the mind, is compared to a river which flows both ways. That's weird, right? A river that goes uphill and downhill. So one way is towards samsara, so towards the world. So this is the passionate world, right? And the mind is very attracted to everything going on around us. So that's kind of the downhill. And it's flowing this way by the path of attachment, right? I want more of this, right? We always want more. It's hard to let go of the things that we like, even if they're not healthy to us. So attachment, infatuation, ignorance, and non-discrimination. We don't see clearly. We see the bag of cookies and we say, oh, that's yummy. Well, that's not discrimination. That's passion. Discrimination is, well, when I eat that bag of cookies, I'm going to have a tummy ache and I'm not going to want to do the plow pose or meditate. So when we have the discrimination, we see that about the cookies. It develops dispassion. I don't care for those cookies anymore because they don't bring me towards my goal. So when we're not having discrimination, that's pulling us away from ourselves. And then the other way that the river can flow is towards kaivalya, or liberation. Kaivalya is the name of the last chapter, so we get to liberation soon enough. And that's the path of discriminative knowledge, or seeing clearly, and detachment, vairagya. The natural outgoing tendencies of the mind are stilled by vairagya, dispassion. So when we see things pulling us away from ourselves, what pulls you away from yourself, right? What is the mind attracted to that it wants more of, but afterwards, it doesn't feel so great? Normally I hold up my phone, but I'm making the recording, but the mind says, look at this Facebook, right? Or Instagram or TikTok or, whatever it is, and it wants it. And it's really hard to turn the mind away, but, I always say, how often do you feel good after spending an hour staring at your phone? It's very rare that we feel good, but then why do we keep doing it, right? The mind is pulled. The senses are attracted to it. So we try to develop this dispassion by thinking, does that actually make me happy? But it's natural for the mind to be pulled outwards. So to curb those outgoing tendencies, we practice vairagya. We try to see clearly, and then we can let go of the phone. The internal Godward flow of the mind is strengthened by abhyasa, or practice. So it's not enough just to let go of the things that pull us away, but we need to strengthen the mind turning inwards. We have to do that by regular practice. So a little poetic. Just as a bird flies in the sky with the help of 2 wings, even so the soul flies in the sky of freedom or liberation with the help of vairagya, dispassion, and abhyasa, regular practice. So now we'll look tonight at Abhyasa or practice. So the next couple of sutras talk about practice. So number 13, practice is the repeated effort to secure the steadiness of the modifications of the mind. So the practice means repeated effort. Persistence in effort is the key to all success in all walks of life. So we can't try to meditate once and it doesn't work. We say, okay, I don't have peace of mind. Right? We have to do it again and again and again and again and again. And he goes on to say we do that for other things too, right? So man is a creature of habits. What he is now is the product of the practices of the past. So the way our mind is working now, what we're attracted to, what we can let go of, is based on all the things we've already done. So all the habits we've created has kind of created our character right now. If you remember the story I told about the chocolate eclair, right? You see it once, it's okay. Again, you go back for it, it's a habit. You keep going back, it creates your character. You keep going back, that creates your destiny. So we've kind of created our destiny now through the habits in the mind we've already formed, in the last 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, 60 years, like this. So it takes a while to change these, to let go of the ones that aren't helping and to create new ones that can be helpful or encourage the ones that are helpful. So we're already a creature of our habits. And the more regular we are in our practice, the stronger those habits become. And are those habits, doing daily meditation or sun salutation or doing daily box of cookies, let's say, right? And, once we're in that habit, it's hard to change. So we want to develop the positive habits. So by changing the direction of his effort, by the practice of divine virtues, and by concentration and meditation, he can attain the supreme success in life, God realization. So we can change the direction of our effort. But first we have to be aware. Where am I putting my effort into? And that's what the regular meditation helps with. We see, how is the mind working? What am I pulled towards? Is that taking me towards my goal? Study, writing, cooking, marketing, sewing, dancing, music, and all other forms of learning are acquired by practice alone. By the force of practice, even animals perform amazing acts in the circus. So if a bear could dance on a ball, we could probably focus our mind as well. What was at one time very difficult becomes easy after devoted and repeated practice. So we'll look also at Sutra number 14 tonight. So the aforementioned Abhyasa, repeated practice, when practiced well without break for a long time and with perfect faith and devotion, becomes firmly established. So we can't just practice for a day or a week or a month, and it gets even worse. Are you ready? We have to do a lot of it. So the following are 3 conditions for perfecting our practice. So there's 3 conditions. Number 1 is for a long time. So it doesn't mean to sit for 8 hours a day in meditation. For most of us, that's not feasible. But one should not set a time limit for his spiritual practice. Just as a person continues to eat day by day, in the same way, he must continue to practice yoga day by day. So a little bit every day, right? I'll do 2 or 3 hours, but then we don't do again for 6 months. So if we just do a little bit every day, that starts to become regular. Aspirants are in different levels of evolution. Some attain success in a short time, others take a longer time. One should develop tenacity in his nature and day by day continue to intensify positive impressions. So a little bit every day is going to create a new groove in the mind. Just like the record player, we create a new positive habit. And we can all find 5 minutes in a day. And I've had so many discussions with students who say they don't have 5 minutes. It happens all the time. And then after 5, 6, 7 years, we find it. So it's not easy. And then 5 minutes easily becomes 6 and 7 and 8 and 9. But just having that beginning regular practice, committing to ourselves. And every time we miss one, we recommit and we go again and again until it becomes regular. When a person, here's another nice little analogy. When a person sows a mango seed in the ground, he needs to allow time for it to sprout and to grow into a tree, for it to blossom and yield fruit. In the same way, an aspirant must await the fullness of time for the fruit of self-realization, or even for the benefits of the practice. At first, we sit to meditate and our legs hurt and our back hurts and we're thinking of all these things. And it's all good. That's part of the practice. And we have to keep going and keep going. And just imagine how long it takes to grow that mango tree. It's a long time. And it's the same thing to get the fruits of our practice. Right now, we're getting the fruits of what we did 20 years ago. So now we're planting the seeds for the fruit to be coming in the next 20 years, or 10 years, or even 5 years if we really do it every day. And the next thing is without a break. The second important condition is that one must carry on one's effort without any break. Off and on practice does not bear fruit quickly. The samskaras, or impressions of the sense enjoyments, exist in the mind of man, and it is difficult to destroy them in a short time. Practice must be prolonged and protracted. So sometimes, we meditate a little and we give up sugar for a little bit, then we stop meditating, and then we come back to the sugar. So we have to go continuous and for a long time. So a little bit every day, but for long time. And say, okay, I'll start with 3 months of daily practice. Then we don't say I'm done. We say, now we do 6 months. And slowly that creates that positive impression. So this doesn't sound nice, but it's good to hear. To practice for a month and then leave it for 10 days, and then to practice for 3 months and then to leave it for a month is practice done with breaks. One cannot attain steadiness of mind even after practicing in this way for a long period of time. Off and on practice is of little value. So is that discouraging or encouraging? Because that's what most of us do, right? But every off and on, slowly the ons become more than the offs. And it's planting seeds. Every time we do it, we remember that it's helpful. And then, okay, we fell off the wagon. That's okay. That's why we do satsanga. That's why we get together every week and meditate together to remotivate each other. And slowly it will actually develop into a regular practice. And the most important thing is just do one thing every day in your practice. Whatever it is, like pick one and don't miss a day. 5 minutes of meditation, up to 20, 30, 40, but start simple. Maybe it's pranayama every day, some salutations every day. Sing a prayer before you eat every day, right? One thing to start, make it a regular habit. Then the second one comes easier. So we'll finish with the third one. So with faith and devotion. So our practice should be continuous over a long time with faith and devotion. Even if a person practices ceaselessly for a long time without a break, he will not be able to attain success if he is devoid of faith and devotion. These two qualifications are of utmost importance for an aspirant. Faith leads to intense aspiration. Aspiration draws divine grace, and grace removes impediments from the path and bestows immortality. So faith is so important in the practice, and it comes from seeing people that the practice has worked for. And that's the start of faith. We say, oh, that person has been meditating for a while. They seem calm. Maybe that'll work for me too. Then we get a little belief for ourselves. And then when we do the practice for a bit, we say, hey, this practice works. Now we believe ourselves through direct experience. Remember the different ways of understanding knowledge? We can hear it from a wise person. That's a start, but then we can experience it ourselves. And then the faith starts to grow. So I know that when I practice regular pranayama, my mind is more calm or peaceful. I can meditate more easily. And then I want to do that more regularly. Now I know it's true. And once we know that just one of these teachings is true, then we believe another one might be true, and we're more inspired to do it. And then another one, and then another one. And then the love or devotion starts to develop as well, because we fully believe in it, and we can believe in it as a practice of self-love, self-compassion, or just feeling of love. And that's one way to have devotion in the practice, not just faith, but to practice out of connecting to our highest self, or connecting to our inner experience of love. That's the way I look at that one right now. So our 3 steps to practice is over a long time, without breaks, and with faith and devotion. So a little bit of bhakti yoga comes into play. And so then the practice isn't dry. It creates empathy, compassion, and love within ourselves. And then next week we go into Vairagya, or dispassion. So when we practice regularly, we can start to let go of the things that pull us away from ourselves and attach more to what connects to ourselves. So now that Patanjali gave us the how, this week we must do one practice every day. So think for a moment, what's that going to be? Can you take a manageable amount of time to meditate every day? Minimum 5 minutes. It could be 5, 10, 12, 14 minutes. Maybe it's daily sun salutation. Something that starts to create a regularity in the mind. And once you get one thing regular, everything becomes possible. The faith comes. So this week, I encourage you, pick one thing and do it, one healthy thing, and do it every day. This is the homework for this week. Om Namah Shivaya.